Hi, this is Leah Myers, Myers Design Studio, and today we're going to make some pretty pot holders out of some old towels. And I used one of my old towels that I had in my laundry cupboard that was all, ripping and everything else, and I'm going to give it some new life by putting it inside a pot holder. So let's get started making this pot holder, and I'll show you how I did it. For this project, we're going to use an old towel. An old towel that's all, frayed or, not usable anymore. And we're going to use 2 layers of it. And this is a bath towel, not a kitchen towel. It's made, for the bath. It's rather thick. And it's just one that's you don't need anymore, right? So you do not need a pattern for this project at all. You just take one of your pot holders that you like, and in my case, I like this old, and it's been in the grill, at the grill a lot. So as you can tell, it's got a lot of grill blackness that doesn't come off in the wash anymore. So I'm just trying to refresh what I have in my kitchen, and I want to make the exact amount that will fit in my little drawer. I don't have a very big drawer. It's a real small drawer that these guys go into. And all I do, and you could take a marker, or because you're going to, and this is a graphite pencil, you are going to, I'm trying to find the words. You are going to cut on this line. So you just take a pencil. This is a real, you can see it. It's a graphite pencil. It's got a blunt end. This is actually for Appliquick. It's Appliquick, and I'll put the name down here. It's an Appliquick pencil. I have the Appliquick tools too. I have the scissors. I have one long pair and one short pair, and I like to use those and the tools. There's one tool that's like a pointy thing, and then there's one tool. It looks like a little fork, and I use those tools sometimes when I'm doing needle turn. And I also use they have sort of like this heavy interfacing type thing that you can buy, and you just trace around a pot holder you have. You don't need a pattern for this. And then you cut out the terry cloth, which is the old towel you don't need anymore. And if there's some stains or whatever on the towel or whatever, just avoid that part. Just avoid everything but the good part on the towel. And then just go ahead and cut it out. This is from your own kitchen. So I don't need there's no pattern for this. It's not, normally I make a pattern, but this is something that we use every day. And it's not necessary. So I'm just gonna, and I need 2 squares. I need 2 of these squares. And I'm just gonna cut it out with my heavy scissors. I use scissors for this, not a rotary cutting tool. And I'm gonna go around that. Go around. And then you get the shape you want, you like. And I'm going to also trace around my mitten. I have a mitten too. But I'm not going to use the 2 terry cloth pieces method squares. Okay, I'm going to square that off. Okay, so I have this, and there's gonna be a lot of shedding. It's kind of scary. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut out another one of these pieces, and then I'm going to start quilting this. I'm gonna quilt this, and I'm gonna sew diagonal lines because that's what they did with this one, even though it's kind of it looks prettier on this side. Some diagonal lines just to keep the two layers together. Okay, and so let me cut another piece and we'll start quilting it. Okay, I'm kind of shaking the pilly thingies away. I'm going to take my terry cloth, old bath towel. It is terry cloth though, to be accurate. Let's wipe this off. I have a vacuum, but I don't have it down here. Yeah, like a little hand vac. Get rid of some of that. I don't want it landing into my sewing machine. And today I'm using the Singer 301. The Singer 301 is a lot like, and it's actually a featherweight. It has the same featherweight bobbin. It uses the same featherweight bobbins, and I've just buried them. These little they're very narrow bobbins, wider and narrower, but they're cute. And I just wound a bunch for this. I was going to use my Sailrite machine. However, on the finer fabrics, I found, even though I was using the right size needle, right size thread, because I know how to thread a machine and I know how to, do all that, I thought I could get my Sailrite to do it all, but I can't. So I'm just going to switch gears. I'm going to use the 301. We're going to do a 301. And if you have a featherweight, you could do this too. Let me tighten this back down. And so I'm just going to go so diagonal lines, one across this way and then another one this way. And that just to start off with. And I hope this will go through the needle. I mean the foot. Okay, we're going to give it a shot here. Because I did this. Okay, wait. Hold on. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. I need to put a couple of pins in this terry cloth just to keep the layers together. And I'm using these pins that have these buttons. They have these buttons on the top. I also have flower head pins, which work too. I'm just going to pin them together real quick so it doesn't move. But it's okay if it does. You could just trim it. The main thing is that you want the center mostly to have that terry cloth. Old bath towel. Okay, let's give this a shot. Okay, the widest stitch possible. And give it, okay, we're going. And is that the widest? Let me make sure. Yeah, that's as far as I can go, okay. Going across. Okay, did it. Looks good. Looks like when you plow a field, it's kind of a, it's got a furrow, like a little, because it's mashing down the layers. And so I'm going to take these pins out because I don't need them anymore. I'm going to go this direction. Oops, okay. Need to get that needle up out of the, and before I was it was happening with the Kenmore and it was happening with the 319, Singer 319, where I would get the thread kind of caught on the bobbin. And I just realized, or read somewhere, that it is because the machine is in mid-stitch. Oops. Come on, go over that. Okay, good, okay. I just had to pull it a little bit, not hard. The machine is stuck mid-stitch. And when it's stuck in mid-stitch, it will, okay, kind of puckered there a little, but I'm not worried. Whew, yep. Not worried about that at all. Kind of puckered. Yeah, it kind of did. So now I'm going to go ahead and sew around the perimeter of this, and I'm probably going to have to sew around the perimeter a little bit further out. If you have a zigzag machine, if you're using that, I would do a zigzag. But since I'm doing this project all on the 319, I'm just going to use the straight stitch, because you can do it with straight stitch. It's on the largest stitch possible going forward. Yes. And I'm just going to help it along in the back. Because I'm dealing with really narrow feed dogs here, not large feed dogs. All right, now I'm on a curve, so I'm gonna open that up. And I'm kind of holding both ends, not tugging. I'm gonna turn that corner better this time. Yes. Sort of looks like I know what I'm doing. But if you have to stop, it's fine. Turn another corner. Getting fancy. Okay. And I'm just gonna, and honestly, you could probably stop here, or you could keep quilting it. It's up to you. I might put a couple more lines, you know, maybe not go across like that because it made it. But what I'll do is I'll put that on the inside so you don't see, like the inside where the fabric's gonna go. I'll show you in a minute. All right, yay, and I'm at the beginning again, back stitch a little. All right, and cut that off. So what I'm gonna do is see it got stuck again, in there. It's because it was in mid stitch, and all I have to do is move that wheel a little bit forward and have the bobbin complete that stitch so that it doesn't get stuck underneath. And that is what I was doing with all those other machines. Seems like I think there's a rhythm with some machines, like the 319, it goes real fast. And that sometimes I was stopping in mid-stitch more than others, the other machines. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish quilting the rest of this, and we're going to go on to the next step and make the potholder. All right, so after you get your terry cloth cut, you need and I have a whole bunch of 2.5-inch strips. This was the jelly roll that I had. And I'm going to grab this one. This is kind of a solid tie-dye one. And all I need is one strip. And you can make your own jelly roll strips, or 2.5-inch strips. You don't have to use, that one. A jelly roll. You just make your own. Anyway, put that out of the way. And I need two squares. Now you can just half this, fold this in half and do the top and bind the top. But I'm going to do a faux binding technique. And I'm going to sew. Let's see. Let me get the right amount of squares. So I'm gonna cut 2 squares, and I'm gonna measure my potholder first. Just slow down a little bit. Wherever I put it. Oh, there it is. It's on the floor. Sorry. So let's measure my potholder real quick. It is approximately 8 by 8. So I'm gonna cut out 2 squares, 9 by 9. Oh no, not completely, because see, I'm not going all the way. So let's do that again. 8 by, so about 8 by 6.5. 8 by 6.5. So 2 squares, 8 by 6.5. Straight edge. So let's cut that. And 8 by 6.5 probably. Just make sure. Straight edge. And this is a quick project. And then I know that I'm using straight grain binding on a curve, but that's fine. So it's going no, it goes this way. Doesn't matter though. This doesn't have a direction. So you can keep in mind the direction of the fabric, and it's not. So let me make sure. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Just start counting. Okay, I'm gonna cut this 9 inches across. I don't want it exactly. I want some room to move. So 9 inches, and I'll just cut that in half, by 7, just to give myself some room here. 9 by 7. Yes. There we go. Oh, I knew I didn't get that. And this, you can just use this on a, still didn't get that corner. That's all right. I'll just snip that corner. Snip that corner. And just prepare your 2 squares, right? And I've got this on a fold, so I'm going to take this off and just cut it at that fold. So I've got 2 squares, or 2 rectangles, really. And I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick iron. I don't need very much of this right here, because I'm going to sew right sides together one of these rectangles. And I don't need very much, just need a little bit. And I'm going to snip off. And the rest of it I'm going to use for binding. Right? Snip that off. And this is what I call a faux binding. I'm going to sew this 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch. It's going the right way. And this is nice. It's got a little line on the presser plate. Presser plate? Yes, I think that's 1/4 inch. I've got a very large stitch. It's fine. Okay. Flip this off. And then again, I'm just going to sew it all together at once. Right sides together. And this is kind of a faux binding technique. You can go ahead and bind it on the top, but I'm just doing this to make it look like a contrasting fabric, right? Have contrasting fabric. And just make sure it's straight. You don't have to pin here. Just start sewing and make sure it's all lined up. It's a quick project, 1/4 inch. Make sure. I think my belt's a little loose. You can hear it slipping. It goes, it's okay. Well, I have to put a new belt on her. It's fine. Hear that noise? It's the belt slipping. Okay, and now I'm going to iron it. I'm going to iron these inside here, so that I sandwich all this inside. And then I'm going to fold it. I can either fold it in half, or let's see if it's going to work though. Let me have my thing. If I fold it exactly in half, or okay, no, I don't want to do it in half. I want it to be a little wider on the front. So that's just a design decision here on the fly. So it's going to be smaller on this side and wider on that side. That's just, I just want it to look like kind of chunky. So I'm going to iron that down. Iron this down. And now I'm going to top stitch this part right here on the front, so it stays nice. so it will stay. So it's top stitch that part. And this doesn't have to be 1/4 of an inch. It's just making it pretty. So top stitch, I'd say about an 1/8, approximately an 1/8. So it looks pretty. Da-da-da. See how fast this is going? There you go. Top stitched. Now lay this onto your sandwich, quilted terry cloth sandwich, and gonna make sure everything is on. And I'm gonna stitch this down from the front. Stitch this down from the front, and I want to be kind of 3/4 of the way down because it's got to have room for your hand to slip in, right? Okay, I can't exactly go from the front, but I am going to pin it so I can see the pins from the other side. Make sure, and if I had clips, I'd clip this. I forgot to bring some down here, so I would clip this so I can see that button from down there. And I'm gonna do another pin on the bottom right here, just so that it doesn't move. And you just want to keep it from moving because there's a lot of things a lot of layers I'm sewing through, right? A lot of layers. There we go. So when I flip it over, I can see the pins. All right, and I'm gonna just stitch along this edge so that I can get that down. All right, and gonna stitch along that edge. I'm basically, yeah, I'm gonna stitch along that edge and make sure I can start from the top. Well, you're just stitching this down. It doesn't have to be like you're gonna stitch this again when you do the binding. So the binding is also gonna help secure the top. Okay, my foot has a bunch of, I just want to clip them. There's some threads wrapped around the foot. And what will happen is my feed dogs will not be able to move. It's got looped. There's a lot of layers here. Okay. Oops. Ow. Ooh, ooh. Don't sew through your fingers. That would be bad. All right, move that pin away. And help it out a little bit. This thing keeps hitting my knuckles. Okay. All right. Sorry for the dramatics there. Stay away from this little thing. It keeps going up and down. All right, move that pin. All right, back and forth. Yep. And I actually want to sew across here. I went down too far down there. Let me do that again on the bottom. Not perfect. Okay, yeah, right here. I want to go across there. That, I don't know what the, I kind of like, I didn't get both layers of terry cloth there. So let me stitch that again to make sure. If you make a mistake, just do it again. That's what I just did, made a mistake. Okay, now take that off. Yes, that's better. So now I want to trim that down get the bolt. Oh, where's my other scissors? These are my heavy ones. Do not cut the stitching. And I want to get both layers there. Yes. So that is nice and neat. Yep, perfect. And now I just want to trim the fabric a little. I don't have a lot to trim there, and trim that. And make sure that I've got the fabric on the top and the bottom. And I want to iron this a little bit. Just iron it down so that when I sew it, it will catch all those layers. Make it behave. And on this one, I didn't quilt the whole thing. I just did a crisscross across, which is just fine. All you want to do is make sure, excuse me, that the layers are all together. Got a hiccuping. And now prepare the binding. Fold it in half. Fold the binding in half. Right. And then iron. Right. And the rest of the strip will work. And I'm just doing straight grain. There's really, they're not really dramatic curves there. I'm not going to worry about it. Plus it's really thick. I should be able to. And then just place your binding from the back side, and I usually do back side bottom, start at the bottom, the back side bottom, and I start stitching that way. Oops, this way. I'll get there. I'm choosing. And if you want to do this ahead of time, you can fold this and iron it down on the end, which is what I would suggest. And then fold it in half again and iron it. That way when you're at the end of this pot holder, and then I'm just going to pin, and at the center, I give a bit of room right here, you know, to close this binding up. And if I had clips down here, I would be using clips. So I'm just going to start right here, pin it, and then start sewing it all the way across. Right? Start sewing it all the way across. And you're going through a lot of layers, so give yourself some time. I'm going to walk this a little bit, get it started. All right. Yep. Okay. You can hear the machine turning. Get to the corner. Just. And I like the 2.5 inch, 2.5 inch binding. Whew. And it's so thick that I'm sliding off. I'm starting to slide off my pot holder. So I'm going to back it up, backtrack here a little bit, and make sure I'm on top of the pot holder. I was starting to slide off of it because of the bulb. So just make sure you take your time, and then when you get to the corner, you may have to put the needle down, and I'm going to have to put the needle down and turn it slightly, little by little, to make sure I have all those layers. This is a very narrow foot, very narrow feet dog. And then just attach it. Now I'm at the end. I'm going to stop and backstitch. I've given myself quite a lot of room, so I can do this last step. And I'm just going to leave. So I folded this right here, this end, and I'm just going to lay this inside here. And I'm going to do it quite a ways, more than about 2 inches. I'm going to clip this off inside there, and I'm just going to lay this inside here like this. When you upholster a pillow and do piping, and make sure this is how you do it. This is how you do like upholstery. Make sure this is a little tight, because otherwise you're going to get a pucker, and I got a pucker in one of my examples. Yeah. And that feels pretty tight to me. Just about 2 inches inside there. And then I'm going to pin these guys so they don't move. And so see, there's my fold, and I folded inside that one so that it's going to be all contained. And then now I'm going to stitch over that. Making sure I'm not stretching it. Okay. All right. All right, and I make sure, get a pen. And back stitch. Then when I take it off the machine, got a lot of strings here. Just make sure I get most of my strings out. I can do this later too, but I like to just try. And then I'm going to give it a quick press. And I'm going to press this binding out, just so that it will flatten. And then when I turn it, it will be flatter. So now, and if you have problems turning it, you can clip some of these corners a little bit, but I think I've gotten it pretty well. And I like to make the pretty side up, and then I'm going to pin where I connected those two bindings, just the top layer, do it to the side there, and work myself around this. And I still have room to put my hand, right? I still have room. And so that I just top stitch the top. And I'm going to use one of my, well, it's not a stiletto, but if I had a stiletto, I would use that. I'm going to use a real strong pin. I'm going to start at the bottom where I connected the two bindings, and I'm going to start stitching, put my foot down. Okay, I might go backwards a little bit. I got off my binding there. I'm going to walk back over to the front of that binding. And it's going through a lot of layers, so be patient and walk it out. Okay, there we go. Now, use my If I had a walking foot on this machine, I think I would use a walking foot because this is a lot of layers, and it would be easier to get these guys stitched together with a walking foot. And it pretty much just folds on its own. So I'm going to help. There we go. I help the feed dogs out and hold it. And it pretty much just folds on its own. I've got it. Let go. Open. And these are my very favorite pot holders, the ones with the terry cloth valves. They work so well. And I'm almost done. Oops. I'm like scooting that. Okay. And I'm turning this corner. It's a little tighter. So this is where bias binding would be your friend here. Okay. And then turn it. And I'm at the end. Get my... Yes, back stitch. There we go. Wow, this one really turned out pretty. And there you go. All right, we're all done. We've got the binding all done, and it's kind of puckery right here where the binding is, but that's fine. It's going to be washed and washed again and used at the grill, and it's gonna, in a year, it's gonna look as bad as the other one. So maybe the next one will be more perfect. I don't know. I would suggest maybe bias binding if you're using curves. If you're gonna make it into a square, the straight grain is good. I think the square would be a little easier but for these gentle corners, that's straight grain binding, so you're fine. The only time it puckered is at the very end. But anyway, yeah, and so the other thing, the reason why I like these is that you have a hot pan that comes out of the oven, and it's got a handle on it. I have burnt my hand so many times on those handles. So what I do is I immediately, as soon as I take it out of the oven, I grab a pot holder that has a pocket like this, and I put that pot holder over that handle so that I always remember that it's hot, because I will forget. I'll turn around, do something else, and then grab that handle. Woo! And that's not fun. When you're cooking and you have a burnt hand and then you've got to keep on going, it's not fun to keep going. Cooking. Yeah, order takeout, forget it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. This is a real quick and easy project. This is old towels that you have in your house. Wash them, make sure they're clean so you can start the project, because you're going to sandwich them together, sew them together. Anyway, and a little bit of fabric and some binding. Maybe some leftover binding from like a binding that you did for a quilt. I mean, you don't have to make this special or coordinated or whatever, because it's a utilitarian utilitarian project. Anyway, if I said that wrong, forgive me. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like and subscribe. I can't wait to see you on the next episode. We're going to do some fun, fast, easy projects, because we did the dahlia the last time. That was a big one. And if you want to do my dahlia quilt, that's the amazing dahlia on my, and I have a special playlist for that too, if you like to look at all 3 of those episodes. And I appreciate you guys watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.